Well, you're starting off with a bang, huh? Alrighty then.
How are you? Yeah, and the same goes, yeah.
No, actually, I get a call.
He's doing well.
Supposed to feel really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, folks, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to try to project as well as we can, but the acoustics are not the best in here. So if you really can't hear things, just kind of raise your hand, okay, so we know. But we'll try to speak loud. So we open up our meeting with roll call, please.
Cohen Barnes.
Here.
Nina Fontana.
Here.
Vicky Hernan Favor.
Here.
Mary Hess.
Here.
Tom Mattia.
Present.
Victoria Newport.
Here.
Tracy Williams.
Here.
There is one change in our agenda for this evening. The opening of the meeting, item number 4, we are going to move that after item B in the new business and administration at the end of our agenda. Okay, so we'll move that item towards the end of our meeting. So if everyone could stand, we have a flag in the back. Oh, we have one up here. Did that just come? Okay. Let's pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We got the recruit tonight going. Okay, the first item that we have is under public participation, and we have a showcase of the Huntley Middle School J-Barb Journal. And I'm just going to turn it over to Sean LaPlante. And Sean, I'll let you fill us in.
Thank you.
And I think board members, you just want to slide to the side.
We'll see if we can get video or audio working here, but it's not essential. But Jenna, I'm actually going to turn this more over to Jenna Levine, who is in our journalism exploratory class. Last year was my first year at Huntley, and I was asked to teach journalism exploratory, and we started last year by using more of a paper approach. And over the summer, Brian Tobin asked me if I was interested in an electronic version of our newspaper, and I thought that would be great, and listen to what he had to say, and it really seemed to match well with what we wanted to do. One of our frustrations, and I think Jenna will attest to this, that we would publish something and our news was 3 months old by the time it got out, so it was a little frustrating. So anyway, we decided to start our online J-Barb Journal, and I'm going to turn it over to Jenna from here and see if I can get some sound for it.
This year we actually have gotten a lot of more articles out, and it's a lot easier to publish. Last year we would have stuff that's, as Mr. LaPlante said, 3 months old. This year we can actually put stuff up within a week of stuff happening. So, like for example, the assembly we had with Mojo Up, we already have an article out about it, and we actually can get video and a lot more pictures. For example, this is the video he posted on his Facebook about with our school in it, which I thought was personally thought was really interesting. And we also have an article on the Hispanic Heritage Month assembly, which I thought was also very good. It's very well written, and we have video of that too.
unfortunately our sound isn't working, but
The dancers are all dressed up in colorful and they're dancing. We also have different sections, like for example, we have student activities, and we have a sports section and a school news section, an area news section, and a world news section. There's lots of things kids have written about. We have written about stuff such as we have Syria, the crisis in Syria, and we have interviews, and we have books of the week, which kids like to write about. They like to write about what games are in and what kind of clothes are in and stuff like that, which is a lot better than last year's stuff. Yeah. Because it would take forever, absolutely forever. Like, I remember last year I wrote an article in September and it didn't get published until December, which was not good at all. This year, I actually am writing an article currently about the change war that we were having against Sycamore, and I can have that out by the end of the week if I get that finished up by tomorrow, which I probably will. So yeah, that's kind of what the JBARB journal is about. We can edit it really fast and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Couple questions.
Yeah.
How many students participate?
About 20 to 25, I think, are in the class. They're 7th and 8th graders.
7th.
Yeah.
Jen actually did it. This was a 7th grader and continued on into 8th grade also.
It's a really good class.
About 4 or 5 students at the time.
Any other questions?
What kind of timeline do they have for submitting an idea before and going to press? And
Oh, well, first off, you start out with your idea, which would take about a day or two, and then you create the article. It can be a partner article, so a lot of times partner articles get done faster than a student writing it by themselves because they can, the partner can edit it with them and actually collaborate with them, which would usually take about a day or two, and then in order to get it published, we would have Mr. LaPlante actually check it, and then within the span of 3 days, we can actually get an article busted out.
Do you guys track the usage of the site? Like who's going there, how many people, what videos are they clicking on?
Yeah, we do actually.
And I guess part of that, I would it does keep some sort of record with that. WordPress does. We haven't officially released this to our student population. I think this is kind of the time now. We've been learning on the go as we go, so I think we're about ready to actually to send that out via Skyward or Family Access and or through announcements. So.
Yeah, because using Google Analytics, I mean, it'd be fascinating just to see, is it video that people are most interested in? Is it the text? Or what subjects are the students actually going to, or parents?
Yeah, I might have to defer to Mr. Tobin to see if he has the ability to see if it's just what parts of the articles are being watched.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, how are the videos being taken?
Oh, some kids, they take them with their camera phones. We get like special permission from Mr. LaPlante to be able to take them with our phones. And we also can take pictures with, like, there's cameras that Yearbook actually was intended for them, but we also have been taking those as well.
So you find it beneficial to be able to use your smartphone?
Yeah, I do actually. Like, I had an interview with Mrs. Stewart the other day, and actually I've been working on getting that downloaded here, and I took that with my phone.
You really didn't know the answer to that question.
Just wanted to verbalize it.
is there on that when an article is posted? Is there comment sections?
Right now we have comments closed.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, that could go either way.
Yeah. We do have the ability to delete any comment anytime. So I think we're kind of going back and forth on that. So when I talked to Mr. Tobin about that we could see how it could go the wrong way. He didn't necessarily say no, but
Would you want to talk to the Chronicle about that too?
I was just going to say, there's another place for Carrie to go to work.
The last thing that I'd like to add is that we're fortunate enough that the journalism class isn't meeting at the same time as 8th grade science, so we're able to use some of the Chromebooks and that has really made not only, I mean, just our computer access time, we're able to get online. The students are able to get online like that. So they walk down, they borrow one from Miss Gleason's room, and then they're able to get on, and they just log on so much faster. So that's one way that I've seen that technology has been extremely beneficial. And then they can share their articles through Google Docs, and they can collaborate with Google Docs also. So it's a really neat piece of technology that I've found extremely beneficial, and I think the students are also.
I know I would love to see you opening it up to comments. I mean, the internet used to be a static environment where you would go and you would download and absorb the information. But as we saw with Twitter, with Facebook, all the social media outlets, blogging, that interaction and collaboration with other people and other ideas and other information, the power of that, if you really want your ripples of this to expand throughout the student base, I would highly recommend opening up for comments and then moderating it. Sure.
And I think we have the ability, next to positive, we have the ability to, if someone comments, and we can then accept that, rather than just deleting it immediately. We accept it before it even gets posted. So that would be something that would be doable.
Tracy.
Real quickly, if I want to go there, I see it's on 428.org. Is there a direct way to get, if I search Huntley Middle School Journal, will it take me right to here, or do I have to go through the 428 website to get to it?
Right now, you can Google HMS JBARB Journal, and this it'll be your first link.
Okay.
You can't just put JBARB Journal though. I couldn't get there from there, but if you Google HMS JBARB Journal,
okay.
And I think that's part of also now that we're ready. Now that we've learned and we're ready to publish, that we need to find the best way to get that out. So,
you know, Tracy, and I think we carve out $8 a year in the budget to have jbarbjournal.com, and it could redirect to this page. You know that you're right, because you want it to be easily accessible to people, so that would definitely be a possibility.
Next year, when this could be potentially eliminated because of the change in the schedule, would you consider continuing this through an after-school activity?
Yeah, absolutely, I would.
No, I guess it would still be offered for, right?
I don't know the exact answer to that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, exploratories aren't, if I understand correctly, aren't being eliminated.
I'm sorry. Okay.
But if it was something that
I'm sorry. I take that back. I take that back. I take that back.
But either way, you would be able to keep it going after school between that.
I would be willing. I mean, especially going and moving in this direction, I would be really excited to do that, to keep it going.
I mean, for the kids that are in choir, orchestra, band, whatever, I mean, if there's an opportunity for them to get involved, because I think this is very empowering.
Yeah.
We actually do. Yeah, they definitely have the ability to submit, and that's probably the next level that we'd want to go. Is also trying to advertise for guest journalists, you know, to write for our papers.
Real ownership of their school.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Introduce yourself, your last name.
My name is Jenna Levine.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is recognition of Tim Suter and I believe the Suter Company. The Board of Education will recognize Tim this evening, and Tim is able to join us. He's the president of the Suter Company, for donating $5,000 to assist with the painting of the DeKalb CUSD428 logo on the water tower up by the new high school. And I believe I'm going to have Jim make a few comments about this.
Sure, Tim's here tonight. We have something for him that is nowhere near $5,000. But I've worked with Tim over the years on different committees, and he is somebody I've met in town that takes so much pride in this community. And many times we've actually had conversations about branding our community. And, you know, DeKalb is about barbs. The history of DeKalb, the foundation of DeKalb. It's about the barbs, and to have that up on that water tower, and in the future to have other schools coming to our school and seeing that is, to me, very exciting, and I know it is to Tim. And he was very generous, and I can never begin to thank him how much I appreciated the fact he was willing to contribute to this. So thank you very much. And Tom has something.
Yeah, we have something, and also, Tim, I want you to plug your other. Tim is a great philanthropist in our area, so I want you to do a little plug for your upcoming project that you will have again this year.
Okay.
Tim, come on forward. Everybody, help me.
I'm glad to know that this didn't cost $5,000. I think what Tom wants me to mention is our annual Feed My Starving Children event, which is coming up in the middle of November this year. It'll again be a 4-day event. First day being held at Cornerstone Christian Academy in Sycamore. That'll be on Thursday, November 14th, and then it'll at our facility on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 15th through the 17th. And our goal this year is to have 4,000 volunteers and to hopefully pack again about 800,000 meals, which we were able to do last year. So, and I know the school district has been incredibly supportive of that effort, so we appreciate that as well. Thanks.
And we just need to know, what year did you graduate from DeKalb?
86.
86. Okay. And who's your favorite neighbor in the neighborhood?
Oh, Victoria.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. Really appreciate it. You're welcome. All right, now we have public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak to the board should complete a request card prior to the meeting. This section of the meeting is reserved for the comments from the public. It should be limited to 3 minutes. Criticism of individuals is not in order. Carrie Malott. Carrie's going to speak about the Cheeseboro project.
Thanks, Tom. I want to underscore some things that we discussed at the last FFAC meeting. Several of the board members were at that meeting. That was great to have you there. But I wanted to say some things again and maybe some new things so that the whole board gets to hear this. Tammy will be presenting the guts of the project and the budget for it. But I just wanted to say that I'm concerned. This is a $1.4 million project, which is up from $500,000 last spring. When the parity subcommittee looked at the elementary schools, they did not include Cheeseboro. The committee that looked at the pre-K EC situation did look at Cheeseboro, and it was their recommendation to bring forward the $500,000 project to renovate part of that school for that project or for that purpose for pre-K EC. If we spend $1.4 million plus possibly a playground and asbestos removal and OT, who knows what it'll be beyond the base of $1.4 million, we'll get 5 more classrooms that won't be used by pre-K or EC. Now keep in mind, pre-K is not a mandated program. EC is, but not pre-K. All right, so spending $500,000 on a partially non-mandated program is a little different in my mind than spending 1.4 or more million, particularly in this budget situation that we find ourselves the last few years and going forward. So therefore, I think this is a stopgap measure. It would solve some temporary problems of space, have a place for kids to go, but 5 classrooms doesn't even get you a full 1-section elementary school. So you'd have to pump the pre-K EC program out of there in order to make that into a 1-section elementary school. And there I have a problem because I don't really know yet where the population will be, the elementary population. That's changing. Jim brought up something at the FFAC meeting about one particular group, according to, I think it was Jennifer Grossi, had changed greatly in just a very short period of time. So things are moving. Recently, the Iron Gate project seems to be on the road to approval. The City Council is moving that forward, it looks like. If that happens, our population will shift further to the northwest. Now, we already have a little bit more capacity in some part of the district and a little bit less in another part, but I'm concerned that Cheeseboro, if we were to turn that into a full elementary school, even if it were only 1 section, might not be in the right location. I'm not sure about that yet, but I'm worried about it, and under the present economic situation would be very nervous about spending $1 million more than we would have to do something with that building. So, in my opinion, at this moment, I think we have insufficient data to vote. Now, in the backup material for Tammy, it says that the FFAC will vote whether or not to advise the board on this issue on the 9th, next Wednesday. I don't know that we're going to be ready to vote, my opinion. We'll see what Kathy, our chairman, says and whether or not we vote. But right now, it looks to me like we still have some things to learn. We need to do a little backup and a little closer look, I think, in the FFAC. That's just my personal opinion. So I just want to bring that to the board to make sure that you're aware of some of the things. I'm really glad that some of you were there last time and got in on that discussion. But that's how I see it going forward. And I look forward to the budget hearing tonight because there'll be a little bit more about this and that. Thank you.
The only comment I'd like to make from an FFAC perspective is that, and Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know that it would be mandatory for them to take a vote until the bidding process is complete. So they could say, I mean, we'd start the bidding process.
I typically, though, will bring it to the board, letting you know what budget it will be coming out of, because that would have to be planned. And if it's not going to be the construction grant, we need to take a hard look at where those funds will be coming from.
But it doesn't prevent us from going ahead in the bidding process. All right, we'll talk more about that when you're on the agenda. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Board committee reports and correspondence. I have no correspondence for the group. Jim, I do think you have something here for the board to look at. It's from the School Board Association, just report to membership. Committee reports, anyone have anything for the good of the cause?
DeKalb Education Foundation met on the 19th, and basically what we talked about was coming up with a better, more succinct mission statement. I think pretty much we voted on that now, but you know, I'll hold off on saying that, but it was a good meeting.
Okay.
Just from a sports perspective, I was at the middle school cross-country meet, and we just dominated. I mean, dominated. Huntley took first as far as the first kid across, but I think we had 6 of the top 8 kids across the finish line at that meet. So what's funneling into the high school in the coming years is going to be fantastic. We've had a very strong cross-country team, especially the Schrader family has contributed significantly to that. But it's just wild to see and wonderful to see so many kids working so hard, and what their future is going to be throughout DeKalb schools is just wonderful. So.
I attended the Mr. Mojo assembly at the high school in the luncheon, and you know, it's great to see bullying being addressed in all of our middle schools and the high school, and the kids seem to respond. He got the message through, and so, you know, I think every attempt we make to bring awareness to the issue is valuable, and so I thought it was worthwhile.
I was here for that one as well, and it was great. He was really, really good. The only problem that I noticed is that from talking with some of the teachers, that they had Mr. Mojo, and then they had the bus safety program, and then they had the Hispanic program, and by the end of the day, the kids kind of like totally forgot Mr. Mojo. But I thought it was an excellent program. I'm glad to see that we brought him in to address our middle and high school students.
I know Mary's not going to say anything, but I'm going to. Today I attended the Keys Initiative.
Project.
Today, Mary facilitated the Keys Initiative, and part of it was the follow-up from about 6 years ago from the 40 developmental assets, which really talks about what students perceive are the assets they have. And there's a lot of research behind the more assets you have, the better you're going to perform in school and everything else. So Mary, I've asked Mary to come to speak to our leadership team because she has comparisons for our school district and each individual building, middle school and high school, from the 2 years, and it's actually really interesting how some of the assets have improved and areas we have to work on in our community to build those assets for kids. So I don't know if you have any comments about that. That was very, very well done today.
If you'd like a presentation, let me know. I'd be happy to do those in the community.
Other comments?
I get a follow-up to that. I mean, like the 4 developmental assets came as a result of the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce Leadership Academy. When you think about the Leadership Academy, for the referendum, a majority of the people that chaired the committees that passed the referendum came from the Leadership Academy. The 4 developmental assets started as a project of the Leadership Academy, and this Thursday, as part of the Tribute to Heroes fundraiser for the Boy Scouts of America, one of the people that we're recognizing is Michael Flora, who is one of the people that actually started on a key contributor to the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce Leadership Academy. So it's incredible to see the ripples. One person can take the initiative on something, affect other lives, and it just keeps rippling throughout the community.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have one presentation this evening, Engaging Success for Our Latino Students. Yvonne Yaquelas and Adam Lopez are here to make a presentation.
It's on the board docs.
It's on the board docs.
Yeah, if we can hook it up on the iPad, read it on iPad.
Sure.
Cohen, lead the way.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
Someone mind if I
How are
turn
you
the
guys?
projector on for me? Tammy, are you used to this projector?
Hi.
Roger.
You know what? I would love to introduce them because we have worked together for the last year and 2 months, and they are just incredible young people working with our students. So I'm so glad you're here to present to the board. We are seeing gains with our Latino population, as you saw with our graduation rate, and I attribute much of that success to both Yvonne and Adam. So thank you for all the work you do with the students, and the students, of course.
Thank you. So we'll start introducing ourselves. My name is Yvonne Uquillas. I'm very happy to be here with all of you today. Thank you for opening up your space. Right now I'm a junior at NIU, and I'm pursuing my major is elementary education with a minor in Latino and Latin American studies.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Adam Efren Lopez. I would like to thank Principal Robert for letting us be here and helping us out to get in front of you and have this audience, as well as Dr. Mulder, who's also given us a lot of support over the years. Thank you for that. I am a master's student at Northern. I'm doing my master's in history. I also have a minor in Black Studies as well as Latin American Studies. And then I'll let our Balu students introduce themselves as well.
Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Salazar. I'm the president of Balu, and this is my senior year.
Hello, everybody. I am Crystal Rezendes. I am a senior, and I've been in Balu since my freshman year.
Alright, so we'll get started. We created a small slideshow for this evening.
So this one is actually the document. It's not the slideshow, so we might have to wing it. So we apologize if that's.
The charts are at the bottom of this.
They are? Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that chart. For a little bit, just to kind of give you a history about what Balu is. So Balu started in 2007, and it was really a collaborative effort between Principal Hall, who used to be here, as well as Dr. Preto, who just left. Actually, she went back to UC Davis. But she was here, and they were very instrumental in putting Balu together. And Balu actually came about through the students. So it was a grassroots student movement, basically, to see about getting their spaces. A couple of the Balu students didn't necessarily feel comfortable in such spaces as Spanish clubs, so they wanted their own space. And so what happened is we had Balu. Now, what Balu means, and as you can see from Eric's shirt as well as Principal Roper's shirt, Balu means, it stands for Vanguardia Afirmativa de los Latinos Unidos. To put the SAP button and to give that little translation, it means the affirmative vanguard of United Latinos. So these are students at the vanguard. They're at the front. They're at the forefront of what Latino students should be. It's a very strong title. We make no qualms about it. It's a very strong title because our students are learning that leadership, and we'll actually have them speak very soon to show you that. Just being here is another one for showing their leadership. Yvonne, would you like to talk about the slides as well as we have here, maybe just about the exit survey?
Yeah. So after we ended last year with Valu, we passed out a survey. We did a survey, exit survey study. And in the first graph, you can see that we have 10 students who identify themselves as first generation. In this specific survey, first generation, what we mean is they are the first in their family to attend high school. Generation 1.5, if you're not familiar with that term, it's a very new term, and it means students who were born outside the United States but have been raised their whole lives here. So they're stuck in between two identities. And we had six students who identified themselves as that. We have second generation, which is students whose parents were born in the country, and we had one with no answer. So that shows that huge diversity that we have within our students in Valu. And then if you guys want to talk about your experience.
Oh, actually, can we just go over real quick? This is probably one of the biggest contributions, and I know Principal Ropeter was just saying this, about this increase in Latinos graduating. Our Latino population is getting bigger. It's not getting smaller. And one of the things that this survey said was, it was this question of, while at Valu, I became motivated to pursue higher education. So one of the things that we had is we have a lot of work with NIU. We bring a lot of NIU mentors. And not just NIU mentors, but NIU mentors who themselves are Latino. Because it speaks volumes when you see somebody doing it. When you see somebody who speaks the same language, who comes from a similar community than you, and is at the high school, not the high school, but the university level. It really starts to break a lot of those ceilings. So we had 25 students take this. We actually had a lot more. Valu kind of ebbs and flows with it when it comes to its, not population, but its membership. Sometimes this past week we just had 36 members. So we're growing and we're increasing. But this one is to see how many of them would be actually going to pursue higher education. 25 is a very... Well, this one tells a lot. This one speaks volumes. It's 25%. That's 100% of people, of students who are thinking about higher education. So, like you were saying, you wanted to get into them. And so I guess what we can do is ask the students now about their experience. So if you can tell everybody your experience at Valu, maybe what motivated you to come and what did you discover while you were in Valu?
Like I said, my name's Eric. I joined Valu my freshman year, and going into high school, I was always this type of student that was a shy student, never got involved in anything. I would go in and out of the Valu at that time. I was just like the quiet student, your shy student that doesn't like to get involved in anything. Now, my sophomore year is when I really started to get involved. I met Adam and Yvonne, and they right away they started putting me in like situations where I could like leadership roles that I had to take a part of during the Valu meetings. And I can honestly say I am a better person now. Like he said, just coming here, it shows us sign of leadership. I've been attending other clubs. I've been working with Ms. Ropeter within the high school for diversity awareness committee. I attended last year's school board of education meeting for the multicultural one. That will be there again this year. But yeah, I can honestly say that I grew as a person for the better. And as growing up as a Latino, I would ever since like I think Mr. Plan, I don't know if he's still here, but he could tell you he was my 5th grade teacher. I told him I'm going to go to college. As I grew up, I was like, how am I going to get there? Now thanks to Valu, I know how to get there, and I will be attending NIU this upcoming summer. So.
Thank you.
My name is Crystal, and even in middle school, before I went to the high school, I knew about Valu, and I was excited to join. Going into Valu, I was not disappointed. Like he said, you grow leadership skills, and you develop them, and you work with them, and you just learn a lot from them. You develop as a better person, and you learn about your history. You get to know people, and you just help each other out. When you don't have anybody else, you just help each other out. So a community in Valu as well.
And so that community really shows. And thank you both for speaking. I know it's kind of hard, and you got a bunch of people looking at, a bunch of eyes looking at you, and you know it's difficult, but it has become that community. Valu has really become that community, and it's getting more. Crystal had mentioned about she heard it in middle school. We have Mr. Wedamo over there who works a lot with Delos as well as Chicas. So those are also two kind of not feeders, but we're trying to grow that community right there. Delos is also the program here in Clint Rosette as well as in Huntley, and that started in 2007. I don't know, Mr. Wedamo, if you would like to just briefly say about that and what we can do in that community.
Sure. First of all, I apologize for having my daughter here. My father-in-law passed away on Friday, so my wife's at the visitation. So I have the little one here. And as a future Valu member, I bring her along, so I know what's going on. Adam's right, and he started off with us in 2007. We started Delos at Clint Rosette Middle School. And it was actually started by Robin Enders and Sharon Karani, and they actually started the program. And we had 5 members when we first started out. And the next year they asked me to sponsor it, and I did. And now I've been doing it ever since. And when I came over to Huntley, because our bilingual program moved over here, I continued to do it at Rosette because I didn't want the students that weren't here at Huntley not to get that opportunity. So I go back and forth. 1 week I do here, 1 week I do over at Rosette, and strictly volunteer work that I do, and all the NIU mentors as well, and all the teachers that help me out at Rosette to supervise those students and here as well. It's all volunteer work, and as Adam was saying, it's that bridge. Delos is it's our meal together, exploring las oportunidades para sobresalir. It's we're exploring their opportunity to be successful, and Chicas changing how I can achieve success as for the females. And then once they get to high school, it's co-ed, and I like how the Valu members come and they present Valu to our students, and we were just talking about how we'd like to collaborate a little bit more so that they're more aware of Valu and we can get more membership.
And that's one of the big things we had also on here. We encourage you to see all of this. Everybody should have this exit survey. But we encourage you to see it. Some of the limitations is we have 36 students, and we want to provide. We meet with them from every Wednesday at 1:30. I get there at 1:30. Yvonne herself as well, and then we don't stop until 4 o'clock with an activities bus. So that's a long time. We try to provide them with healthy snacks. It's a limitation for us. But also, just while we have this big boost of Latino students, we also want to encourage, let's aggressively start getting more Latino faculty. That's something that we're really lacking, and that's something that really provides volumes. So, and I keep saying volumes, I apologize. Do you want to go to maybe up? Oh yeah, I guess this is just the last one. You want to just talk about the rating, and then I know we've kind of gone over our time.
In the survey, we asked for all students to rate how Valu was to them throughout the whole year, and you'll be able to see in the chart, 15 of them said it was 10. It was from 1 to 10, 1 being the poor, 10 being excellent. And I wanted to, in my slideshow, we had some quotes directly for the students. It might be a little hard to find it here, but a lot of the students emphasized how they are tired to be in a stereotype. They are tired to be told that Latino and Latina students drop out of high school and they don't want to be that anymore. So we find this correlation of students coming to Valu and seeing us in higher education, which is a huge boost for them. So we took a look at the Illinois Interactive Report Card. You see it?
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
right here.
So there you go. I'm tired of people talking down to our ethnicity and saying we're not worth anything. So it's very powerful. It's very powerful for anybody to read that. Again, we were looking at the interactive report card that is under NIU, and the percentages speak for themselves. There is a lot of percentage in the Latino students, and there's a very low percentage of faculty and staff. So that's something we really want to do something about it if we are able to, and definitely would appreciate everybody's help.
So I mean, if there's any questions, we thank you for your time as much as possible. I know this is a lot. Please, whenever you get a chance, run through it real quick. It was something that Yvonne herself put together. And so, again, it really goes over what Valu is, the mission. We have our website up. It's actually Valu DeKalb or DeKalbValuJimdo.com. It's on there. It's actually. Do you mind going all the way up to the? Okay, a little bit up. A little bit more. There it is. ValuDeKalb.Jimdo.com. You can see our mission statement. You can see our photos. If we had some more time, we have photos, we have video, we have civic engagement that the students get involved in, a lot of different ways that Valu is reaching out. So I don't know if there's any questions, but if not, thank you for your time.
Questions, comments?
Quick comment, I mean, diversity of our faculty comes up with the board a lot, and a piece of it is, yeah, we need assistance too, from a recruitment standpoint. What avenues, when jobs are available, can we host, how can we educate that DeKalb is looking for more diversity in our community? We need, it's a two-way street too, but just so you know, there's a very receptive board to try and figure out how we can make our faculty as diverse as possible.
Thank you for that.
And Yvonne is a junior in elementary education.
Yes.
So,
for obvious reasons.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for coming forward and educating us on this great program you've done. So please join me in thanking these students.
Good job, sir. Nice presentation.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good job on the technology.
I got to say how impressed I am with that young lady back there. That's one of the best board meeting attendees we've ever had.
Yeah.
Thank you again for everything you do. Really appreciate it. All right, we're moving on to our non-business consent agenda. It's been recommended that the Board of Education approve non-business consent agenda items A through C. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Second. Roll call, please.
Cohen Barnes,
Abstain.
Nina Fontana,
Yes.
Vicki Hearn in favor,
Yes.
Mary Hess,
Yes.
Tom Mattia,
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Tracy Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes. Business and Finance. We have a number of presentations tonight about projects. They are all informational items and one action item. The first one, Tammy's going to be up here quite a few times. So first one is roof replacement at Jefferson Elementary.
You may recall last year we talked about roof replacement projects in our life safety budget, and that we felt we were running a little behind on keeping up on the preventative maintenance and replacements that needed to be done throughout the district. And last year we actually had some additional funds to the tune of about $800,000 that we were able to allocate to a portion of the Huntley Middle School roof as well as the Founders Elementary roof. And those were the oldest sections that were giving us the most problems, causing the most leaks, and costing the district the most money. We're now moving on to the next year. We made a commitment to continue to do roof replacements that need to be done throughout the district using life safety funds. We do have about $500,000 in our life safety budget for the upcoming 14-15 year, which being that it's a summer project, it would be that budget that we'd be looking to use. And after looking at the various roofs that should be done, the next one on our list is Jefferson.
This was in the board material. I think this is a good plan that we continue to update this. Questions for Tammy on this? Consensus of the board to bring it back for potential action? Very good. Okay, the next item is the student drop-off lane at Jefferson.
This one I'm not actually coming at this point for a request to bid. It was more of an informational piece because I do intend, and I have brought it to the attention of the City of DeKalb, and it will be discussed at the City Council meeting on the 14th, I believe, is the first meeting that will be discussed. And what it is, for a number of years, the city has been talking to us, and the police have been talking to Christy Meyer about getting these students off of Ridge Road. Our parent drop-off, or area where our parents drop off, is on Ridge Road. They walk down a path between houses, and that's where they enter the schoolyard. Years ago, it wasn't such a troubled area because the road was a dead end. It didn't continue through. Now that continues through to subdivisions, the university, and there's a lot more traffic that is running that road beyond just our parents that are dropping off. And it is a significant safety hazard for our students. So we've looked at a number of options to try to get the drop-off onto our property, but as you know, Jefferson, the McCormick dead ends into Jefferson. And that's our bus drop-off lane, that circle drive in the front, and then there's the fairly small staff parking lot that it's attached to it. So there isn't another entrance point currently to that building. So we've looked at various options with Christy, with the police, with the architect, and we've come up with a plan that we feel will be a really good fit for this building. You may not be aware, but there's actually a large parcel of grassy area behind the playground, behind the basketball blacktop, that extends all the way to the north edge of Royal Drive. And that is all of our property. Royal dead ends into the parcel of land that is the district's. What we are proposing and taking to the city is to create a drive right off of Royal that would continue. It would run the length of those evergreens that back up the Tall Meadow subdivision, or Tall Meadow Road, circle around near the path that comes in from the neighborhood, and then circle back out again. That would be our parent drop-off, where our parents would drop off and pick up their students in a circle drive on our property. And then we would still have the path open to Ridge because of walkers. We would still need that because we have a lot of walkers in that neighborhood. So we wouldn't close it off. We would need to look at a plan for the first few weeks of school to, with the help from the police department and our resource officers, to be able to stop parents from dropping off there, because we anticipate there will still be some trying to do that. But we need to stop the drop-off and get them onto the new path. It's potentially the neighbors on Royal, it's going to make their dead-end street no longer a dead-end street. It is going to dead-end into our circle drop-off. It will change, I think our neighbors on Ridge will be pleased that they no longer have all that traffic. But it is something that we will need to go to those neighbors and make them aware of should we decide to move forward with it. And it's a project that the FFAC subcommittee for building parity has looked at as a safety project that we had planned to bring forward at some point. The only reason I'm coming today is more informationally and answer your questions and be aware that it is going to be discussed at a city council meeting just to get their support.
Tammy, are you going to be at the city council meeting?
You know, I just received an email from Joel Maurer saying that I didn't need to be, but I have not decided if I will be attending or not. I had planned on it. It would be discussed on the 14th and then potentially again on the 28th. So I have it on my calendar.
Okay.
They do have the drawings, the preliminary drawings, as well as we answered many of their questions they had. And they actually seem favorable for it compared to keeping the Ridge drop-off.
Questions? Thank you. Okay, the next item is the request for bid for the Cheeseboro renovation. Christy, you got excited there for a minute?
I'm sorry? Yeah, I know.
We're requesting to go out to bid on the Cheeseboro project, and as Carrie mentioned, it was brought forward and discussed last spring when we considered opening the pre-K EC Center this August of 13. And when that time that was delayed till next August, we decided to take a step back and look at this entire scope of this building to make some decisions that could potentially meet the future needs of the district. When we were looking at strictly pre-K EC, it was about 2/3 of the building they were going to be using for classrooms, and we weren't looking at anything above ceiling. At the time, we just didn't have the time to really put this together in the way it should because of the time frame we were on. So in taking a step back and working with the architect, we are bringing a request to bid that would be, it's broken out in a number of base and alternate bids that are in your packet. The base bid would still be just to renovate that 2/3 of that building, which we originally proposed. There's also alternate bids, and if you remember with alternate bids, those can be accepted or rejected at the time that the pricing comes in. With the alternates, there is alternate 1, which is to renovate the remaining building to the same scope that we talked about, the original 2/3. Alternate 2 is to replace all ceiling, lighting, ductwork, and temperature controls. And the reason for that is that building is on a panel system, electrical system. So to turn on lights in that building, you go to a breaker box and you flip all the switches. There's no light switches on the wall to turn on and off different separate classrooms. And when that building was built, it was an open concept building, and walls have been added since, which the HVAC and ductwork has never been really right since that point, because you have some that are duct properly while the other ones are not heated or cooled properly because the ductwork wasn't done. If we're going to be doing all that, the ceiling is not in the best of shape. The grid work, the panels, those would be replaced. Bid 3 is to extend the walls completely to the roof deck rather than just stopping at the ceiling panels. There's efficiencies that you get there from a heating and cooling standpoint. There's also in regards to a fire protection. You have more fire protection when your walls go completely to the roof deck. The soffits outside all really need replacing. They're in poor shape. That, if you know, the building has been vacant for a couple of years, so we haven't done the same level of maintenance we've done in the occupied buildings. And then the last alternate bid is the student drop-off lane and visitor parking. Right now at Cheeseboro, they've dropped off on the street, on Garden Street, but we are proposing getting them again on property for a student drop-off, and then there would be some visitor parking in the front. Bus drop-off, staff parking would still take place in the back. So those are the alternates. With all of that, as well as your architect and contractor fees, contingency fees, we're looking at a potential budget of about $1.47 for this project to do all of it. Now, again, those prices are broken out above that to tell you what it would be for the different alternate bids that we can reject or accept at the time that bids come in. There is a mention here about playground. That playground is not owned by the school district. That is Park District property. It's not in the best of shape. That playground is a very old playground, so we could want to discuss should that be replaced at some time. And the cost to do most recently the Founders and the Cortland playgrounds have been anywhere from $125,000 to $200,000. That's not part of this proposal, but it is just something to consider.
Questions? Tracy?
Just one, but I do think we need to add another potential alternate bid, which would be somehow securing that area. I know we talked about it. There's the right of way across the river, the bridge, and then that sidewalk all the way along. That's Park District on the west side of that property.
Okay, you're on Tyler.
You're on Tyler.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You're on Tyler.
We're on Cheeseboro.
That's
I'm
next.
sorry.
We're on Cheeseboro.
I'm with you on that. I'm sorry.
I'll answer that question when we get to
that's
Tyler.
coming up. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Other questions? I think the way this is broken out, I mean, I look at your timeline here. I mean, the bids are due December 19th. And basically between the 19th of December and the board approval on February 4th, we can weigh through all these alternates.
Absolutely.
And we can prioritize or make a decision on what we want to bring forward. And I think that's when it's appropriate that the FFAC weigh in on this, Carrie. And I think there are some things that we need to look at from a demographer perspective. And one of the things, if we move ahead with this project, there will be some minor shifting, potentially some students. And so one of the things I want to bring forward tonight is that while we have the approval to go out to bid, we also instruct, Dr. Briscoe and his staff to begin to work with the demographer to see where we can get some of these efficiencies and families that might be affected, and begin that reaching out process and communication process. So I think that needs to be parallel to this, as opposed to after the fact. So, does everyone agree with that? Give Jim permission to do that? Okay. So, I think that's the process I'd like to see going forward, so we can make those decisions. So, look forward. Okay. Thank you, Tammy. All right, next item is the get ready, Tracy. Tyler?
I printed them out. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong
I had them in another order too. It's all right. I am coming forward requesting to go out to bid informationally for the Tyler renovations. We recently had a board meeting there, and the board members were able to walk through it and saw the deficiencies in that building from a safety standpoint, as well as from a learning environment standpoint. And what this breaks out, there's really only one base bid that's being recommended, and that is to do the entire building. And then there is also an alternate bid because the HVAC rooftop units that take care of the gym and the current office space will need to be replaced in the near future anyways. So if we are under full construction, it would be a good time to consider doing those pieces also, and at least at a minimum get pricing so we can make that decision. This is a full gut. The numbers reflect the estimated budget to the extent of we don't know what the potential overtime that could be budgeted by these contractors is. We don't know if the bids are going to come in what % higher because what they feel they would need for overtime to get this done. This project is on about an 8 to 9 week timeline, and that's assuming we have no snow days. Keeping our fingers crossed for that. This would be kids leave the building. We're there with our full crew emptying that building to start construction within 24 hours because of the short time frame. When this goes out to bid, the contractors are going to have to bid and keep into consideration that these timelines will probably require nights and weekend work, which is potentially at an additional cost. There is enough timeline that we're giving them ahead of time for getting the materials. That should not cause a delay in this. We're ahead of the game when it comes to going out to bid. That's usually what hangs us up a lot in these projects is something isn't delivered on time, or it's back ordered, or it arrives with the wrong product. With this, we should not have that issue. The scope of work should be out to the subs in more than enough time to get the proper products. So,
questions?
I think we covered it. And by the way, that explains the look you gave me.
I think you should repeat it though, because I'm not sure everyone heard it.
I'm sorry about that.
I had the same thing on my
all right, so that playground area there to the west side of Tyler that is between the school and the river. That bridge crosses the river by, I guess, Park District agreement or whatever. We have to keep that open. And then there's that walkway that goes to the north toward the street, I guess. I was wondering if we couldn't secure that area, whether it be a 6-foot fence or something. And you may have to have a gate that you can open as kids come to school and leave school. But throughout the day, I know Andrea had commented that it's very unnerving to see people walking out there when kids are playing. You may or may not know who they are. It just seemed like if we're going to, which by the way, this is long overdue. So if we're going to go this route, maybe you could figure out a way we could secure that area, understanding that that sidewalk may no longer be inside our perimeters, I should say. Because I know there's that smaller fence there, but it's all grown up in brush and everything else. And I think just for peace of mind, if we're going to do this project, we ought to finish it, so to speak.
Are you talking the bridge crossing, like gated?
Yes.
Yes, it's open access right now.
Right. From a trail perspective, from a running and biking, which there's a pretty big initiative in the community trying to accomplish that. That's a heavily utilized biking and running trail. We would just have to make sure whatever we did at night, or I mean, it gets dark early. You've got a lot of people out there utilizing it that they'd have to know there's a gate there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not suggesting we close it down in any way, and I don't know that that's the right answer, just a big fence, but we have to do something to secure that area while those kids are outside. Or the foxes and the coyotes and whatever else comes up on there, right?
Yes.
On the lawn.
There was a fox last year.
So,
I'm
I don't
actually-
know, I'm asking.
And it hasn't been a discussion I've had with the architect, but I'm actually meeting with Scott Johnson tomorrow to discuss a number of projects, and I can definitely bring that up to him and see what his thoughts are on that. It may require a meeting with the Park District to get their approval from.
That was going to be my suggestion.
Yeah.
We need to start that dialogue now. I mean, so we can come up with a joint, decision, because I know they're going to want to help facilitate safety of their students. So I just think we need to start having that dialogue and how we can make this thing work.
And it's open to the south too, right? So it just seems like if we're going to do this, let's do it right and finish it and make it.
We're going to spend $3 million on a facility.
Yeah.
We've got to do it right.
Yeah.
From last thing on the trails perspective, the south side of that building, there is no sidewalk, and that's what if I remember right, that's what a lot of people use to get to the playground, to get to the bridge, to cross over the river and continue down to Hopkins Park, or what's the park called now?
Lions.
No, well, yeah, Lions, and then on their way to Peoples or Prairie Park. Yeah, it was been a lot of names over the years. Yeah. But there is no sidewalk there. It's just grass that people run on. The Cornfest race runs across that, and it's just an ankle twister. We have the opportunity, if we do this, to continue a path to the street would be
I
great.
think Jim sits on the Pioneering Healthy Communities
Fantastic.
Initiative, so I think that's a nice assignment for you, Jim.
I'm meeting with them next week, the
There we
strategic
go.
plan.
Very good.
Well, and I might also mention a couple other things in regards to the Tyler building. There are some efficiency grants that we've taken advantage of that we're looking at that are still available. That'll be a side project, not a bid project, but a project that we're looking to get rebates for the exterior building lights, additional parking lot lights. That area is a very dark area. There's one parking lot lamp, and the building lights are really not sufficient. Tyler's the first building we're going to be looking at to utilize those rebates. And that's not one where you get it once and then you no longer can get it. It's one you can continue to apply for with these projects. Tyler's going to be first, but then we're looking at all the other buildings also that need improvements.
Yeah, Saquon, you and I maybe get down there sooner than later because we actually have we're trying to figure out what to do next, and this could be the project. So I need to go down to see exactly what you're talking about.
Okay,
where
yeah,
people are
love to.
crossing the grants.
Yep.
I would include Andrea in that conversation as well.
Well, the bridge goes right onto our property. Right now, we have a sign that says no trespassing, like during the school hours, but it's not working. People are still jogging, walking their dogs, riding their bikes over the bridge when my students are outside at recess. And for me, having limited amount of adults out there watching 200 plus babies is nerve-wracking, because I don't know who or what will come over that bridge. So I'm all about running and biking and trailing and doing all that. I'm so all about it. I just don't want them to do it from 8 to 3:30. That would be great. If they cannot do it from 8 to 3:30, I'm fine.
Totally understood.
Well, we may just simply have to give the Park District that little right-of-way there and put the fence on school
On our
side or
side.
something. I'm sure there's a way we can come at
We
this,
can definitely
and
look
this
into
will
it.
be a Tyler, not Cheeseboro. So,
I understand.
All right, we can do that.
We're good.
We can do that parallel to this process.
No
So,
problem.
Consensus by the board to bring this forward as an action item.
Yes.
Go out to bid. Okay, very good. We'll see that next meeting on our agenda then. Okay, we go to action item approval of backup snow removal. Tammy presented this at our last meeting. The Board of Education renewed the contract for backup snow removal services to D. Ryan Tree and Landscaping LLC, 17271 Route 23, DeKalb, Illinois, for the 2013-14 winter season. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Nina Fontana?
Yes.
Vicki Hernan Favor?
Yes.
Mary Hess?
Yes.
Tom Mattia?
Yes.
Victoria Newport?
Yes.
Tracy Williams?
yes.
Colin Barnes?
Yes.
Motion passes, and knock on wood, we don't have to use the backup snow removals for multiple reasons. New business and administration. It's been recommended that the board education policies first reading. Yeah, please do.
As part of our school improvement process, our district-wide improvement process, one of the tasks that was assigned to the board superintendent level would be to make sure our policy reflects what our current school improvement process is, and it's drastically changed. And really, even though No Child Left Behind Act is still in existence, it's sort of a dead legislation, and in 14 it's really technically over. So what we're trying to do as part of our district improvement team is have a policy that reflects what we're actually doing, which is first time in my career a really good process where a group of us sit around and continually look at the task assigned for different practices that have been identified through research called Wise Ways, to see how our district stacks up against what you're supposed to be doing, and then things that we feel we're not doing well, we agree and assign somebody and they have to do it, and we realize that our policy doesn't reflect what we're currently doing, so that's simply what you have in front of you is clean it up a little bit.
Okay. Any questions for Jim on this? Okay. Consent to bring that forward for final reading next time? Okay. Next item is the collaborative special education review and audit. Andrea, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes. So this evening we have in front of you actually which stemmed from previous board discussions probably months ago.
Yes, it has.
And then we haven't addressed it since. But again, along the same vein as are we applying and allocating our resources to the proper places and getting the outcomes that we feel necessary that we should be seeing. In front of you, I also placed a spreadsheet for you so that you know how much money we spend for particularly special ed. But I want to express to you that this evaluation that we're looking at actually encompasses all of the education delivery. And actually Doug and Jessica participated in a conference call with me with the group, the collaborative, to talk about some of the issues or concerns or maybe just reinforcing the fact of what we are doing. We are moving in the appropriate direction. But first of all, so we could address a little bit of what the district is spending and where our financial resources are. So if you take a look at the very top of the spreadsheet, the yellow line across will show you our history actually for about 12 years from 2001, and we cut off right now at 2012 fiscal year because that's when the audit was complete. We have yet to complete the 2013 audit. But if you'll see what the revenue stream has been between our local, state, and federal dollars for fiscal year ending 2012, we received $6.2 million. Now, the educational service expense side of that for our programs run at $11.6 million. So the district, of course, has to make up the difference for these programs, and that's at a tune of $5.4 million. But what I also want you to take note of is what our special ed population looks like in comparison from 2001 when we were, well actually let's look at 2003 because that's when we started collecting the numbers. We had a population identified of 578 students. At the close of the 2012 fiscal year, we had 868 students we are servicing. So what this group does is they look at the whole systematic approach, and because of inclusion, that's why I want to express that this isn't just looking at the special ed component because our students are in regular education classrooms with other students. So that being said, the things that we had identified to review is a proper identifications of students in special ed services. Are we over or under identifying students, or are we in a good place of appropriately identifying these students? Are we using our resources effectively? And that's financially and manpower. Are we placing students in the least restrictive environment and having the appropriate system supports for our students? And what are those educational outcomes looking like? And how can they qualitatively and quantify those outcomes? So with that, there's a packet that they support the type of work that they do. I will tell you, I have reached out to several school districts and have talked to the business folks as well as the directors in the special education department, and two different viewpoints of financially how your resources are spread, and do you see a change after this type of outcome? Financially, the impact, perhaps applying those resources a little differently. So whether you use it for assistance or programs, and do you pull back, or do you end up having to, because of deficiencies, apply further dollars toward these programs? So that's what they have said across the board. There wasn't one or the other. It was that at the end of this review, they felt that their money was being placed in the appropriate places to better serve the students. From the directors' perspectives, it gave them a tool to help support them while they were going out to the teaching staff or support staff of what and where to look for the resources and have the professional development available for them. Anything outside of that, the cost is listed here as an estimate of $74,000. But if you have any specific questions, I think Jessica could probably answer those.
My first question would be, has an audit ever been done in this area before?
Not this type of evaluation. And plus the fact, maybe you want to speak a little bit of, we've had a turn of direction since 2009 really with the dissolving of the DCSEA, which was a consortium.
And that's what I was just going to say. As a part of that, every district that was a part of that consortium had to go before the Illinois State Board and present a comprehensive plan of special education services and have that plan approved so that we could be an independent special education agency. And so we did go through that process and were approved through the state board, and it was pretty intensive. We had to present a lot of data. They come out and did site visits, spoke with teachers, spoke with parents, went and visited some of our sites. So that's probably the closest we've ever gone to something of this nature. But obviously that wasn't a company that was the state board coming to do that for us.
I'd say Dr. Briscoe, Dr. Muller, any comments?
Go ahead, Doug.
Well, I think one thing that this could help us is identify any possible efficiencies that may exist, as well as not only programmatic, but also in terms of allocations of FTEs. So it could potentially generate savings that outweigh the costs.
And there's just no, when you're doing this, there's no guarantees. I think it'll be an enlightening experience if you went through with this. I think when they came back in to tell you where our strengths and weaknesses were, where we could become more efficient, would be very enlightening. But there's no guarantees they'll come back and say, here's $300,000 in cost savings. So that's the only thing you have to do as a board.
And they truly are it's more of a systems approach, so they're not coming in with like a narrow scope of special education. They're really looking at how all the parts work together to make a whole, because truly special education systems are building from those general education systems first. Those students are gen ed students first. So it really is more comprehensive, and I think that was something as we got into talking with them over the phone that surprised me a bit, and really to me seemed more on par with how we should be looking at our systems.
Two real quick questions. One, I saw they had done work for West Aurora and a couple other districts in the area. You did talk to them, and they were satisfied with everything. Lastly, where do we stack up with state average at 14.3%? Where are we compared to the state average?
We are on the higher end of the state average, but when you compare us to other districts our size, So, you know, if you guys are interested, I'd be happy to come before you, come to the board and kind of share our kind of annual report. Just so you can look a little bit at all the things that we are measured on as a special education agency and see how we're stacking up. I think as in all of our areas, there's some things that we're doing really well and some areas that we're working in, but in terms of percentages, we're on the higher end from the state average, but not really when you look at comparison districts.
But we do have, you know, we talked about move-ins. We've got a disproportionately high number of move-ins of students with IEPs.
Did they comment to you at all when you talked about them in the preliminary discussions, when you shared with them our kind of numbers financially compared to, you know, 21% of our budget goes towards this service, 14% of our students are involved in it? They raise eyebrows by that?
Yeah, you know, I don't know that we ever shared that level of detail with them. It didn't come from me if it
Okay.
was shared.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, we didn't venture down that road.
Okay.
Do most of the mandates for providing education in special education, are those federal or state?
They're mainly federal. Each state interprets the federal law according to how they would like to see it played out and have the capacity to impose more strict limitations but can't do anything less. In Illinois, in some areas, interpret more strictly, and in other areas are right in line with federal.
And you feel confident that they know Illinois?
That's a really good question. Yeah, actually, they've done a lot of work in the last couple of years in our area, mostly east of us. So, yeah, I think we got a good sense that they certainly understand their craft.
Okay, because I mean, I noticed they did work in Connecticut and Los Angeles and New York, and I don't think you can apply.
Most recently, though, they did do Carpentersville,
Okay.
which is a very large school district. They've done Indian Prairie, Naperville, St. Charles. So, yes, they have had presence out this way.
Okay.
Is there consensus to bring this forward as an action item? If you have questions, I would encourage you to vet those out with any of the administration prior to the meeting, to learn more about this, because it is a big chunk of money, but we spend a lot of money in this area. So, okay. Right. We have one last item. Possible expulsion of student number 113. It's been recommended that the Board of Education approve the expulsion of student number 100113 as identified in the student's file kept in the superintendent's office for the remainder of the 2013-14 school year. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Vicki Hearn in favor?
Yes.
Mary Hess?
Yes.
Tom Mattia?
Yes.
Victoria Newport?
Yes.
Tracy Williams?
Yes.
Colin Barnes?
Yes.
Nina Fontana?
Yes.
Motion action passes. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much, everyone. Oh, hey, make sure everyone takes their bumper sticker, support DeKalb High School, celebrate the drive.